All right, y'all, what's going on? It's Combo Breaker 99 back with another one. All right, y'all, let's talk about this one. Alexia Thainara defeats Loma Lookboonmee, her second fight in the UFC. Another veteran. I got to give Thainara a lot of credit here. You know, she's being forced to advance and adjust and adapt early in her career. You know, first Molly McCann on short notice, who's a veteran. I know she's already gone from the UFC, but still that was a high-profile name for, you know, a newcomer like Thainara. She goes in there, gets the finish. And now she comes in here and dominates a veteran in Loma Lookboonmee, you know. But shout out to Loma, man. You know, I like her as a fighter, but her one downfall that's going to keep her from the rise up the strawweight division, man. I don't care, you know, how strong she gets or how good her takedown defense is. The one thing that's really going to hold her back, man, is just the size. That's the one thing that's going to hold her back from ever getting higher than, you know, number 15 or 14 is the size, you know. Until they get that atomweight division going, you know, Loma's going to struggle. Loma's going to struggle because when you put her in there with a girl like Alexia Thainara, who's explosive, who's working to be well-rounded, you know, who can strike, you know, grapple, clinch, and she's really strong, you know, she's going to struggle with girls like this. But, yeah, Thainara, I like what she's doing in there as a fighter. Like, the one thing I'll say about Alexia Thainara that I could take away in this fight is she was willing to do a little bit of everything. Like, I know, just like a lot of the other prospects, she's got to learn, you know, she's got to work on her defense. And there's always some things that, you know, I'm going to call out. But watching this fight, it was kind of a pleasing performance from her because usually when I'm watching somebody fight and they get stuck in one gear, I'm always saying, hey, they need to do this, they need to do this, they need to use that jab, they do this, do that. Well, Thainara, it's like every time I was about to say she needed to do something, she's starting to adapt to the situation and she's doing it. You know what I mean? Like she's already picking up on the things that she needs to do. Just like when the strike is getting heavy, she knows when to clinch. Or if she finds that moment that Loma's off balance, boom, she's catching her with a kick to the stomach or she's landing her own strikes. And, you know, she's never standing in one place. She's always doing some type of movement. And she knows how to win rounds, too. And her ground game, you know, she knows that she's the bigger, stronger fighter. So what does she do? She starts fighting like the bigger fighter in there. So I can't really knock anything that Thainara was doing in there or be really like harsh on what she was doing or be a harsh critic, period, because, you know, again, she's stepping up fighting one of the veterans in the UFC in her second fight. And I thought she was handling it well. I mean, right from the jump in the first round, I thought Loma was doing well as far as, you know, keeping them range as a shorter fighter, landing some hard, you know, teep kicks and body kicks and then landing those right hands. But Thainara was holding her own, you know, landing her own straight right hand and just kind of, you know, putting the pressure on Loma. But Loma, I like how she was using just using the octagon and fighting off the back foot as a shorter fighter. But eventually she got a little, she got a little out of character. Like she went in for a takedown on Thainara and she got caught. It was like she caught an elbow and she got rocked. So when that happened, boom, Thainara gets the trip and the takedown on her. And there was another, like a step-in shot that you see here, the step-in elbow where Loma kind of got a little greedy at times and she started getting hit with big shots. But it was that one time that I caught whenever she like tried to dive in and she gets caught by Thainara and nearly gets knocked down, right? But when she clinches up with Thainara, Thainara is able to trip her and take her down. And when she does this, Thainara takes over. You know, she's getting that work in that half guard. And then eventually in this round, I think it was this round, she got the full mount and just started landing some big elbows on Loma. And I thought she was about to get a finish. So, I just started seeing Thainara take over in this fight by utilizing her strength. And she knew it worked because second round, you know, again, she's clinching up, spending more rounds in the clinch and neutralizing those knees. Like that tie clinch that we're used to seeing from Loma, it was almost non-existent here because Thainara knew how to neutralize it. And I like the strategy, too, like when she would clinch up and Loma was using her takedown defense, she would sometimes pull her down. You know, she pulled Loma down and went on her back because she was like, okay, I know Loma's not going to mount me here. She's too small, and she's definitely doesn't have the ground game. So those are just like creative ways of her getting takedowns, you know, and, getting a lot of ground control time in. But, even ending the second round, she was willing to like trade some bombs. You know, she was trading bombs with Loma and just like really trying to amp the fight up and get in Loma's head mentally, you know, when she went in for that trade. Like that's what's the crazy part. Like this fight kind of reminded me like a Street Fighter fight or something. You know, when you put Loma who's fierce and you got a character like Thainara who's mixing it up, you know, you get this like explosive type of exchange, you know. And I thought that, for the most part, Thainara, you know, she was really getting the better of the offense here. The last round, Loma, she really needed like a big counter shot or a head kick, but like Thainara was taking her best blows. She was taking her best blows, and she would fight her way back into the clinch and just stay there until she just could like lay on Loma, put all her weight on her. And then eventually, like at one point, she like pushed off the cage and just pulled Loma down again to get the fight to where she wanted it to be. So yeah, I thought Thainara just did a good job of mixing it up. I had it 30-27. I gave her all 3 rounds. I thought she came back in the first round, then the second and third, I thought she pretty much took over with, just her strength and, the better shots landed. But yeah, just creative things she was doing in there as far as, being a fighter trying to mix it up. Like I said, I think that as time goes on, you'll see her kind of mix up her game. Her boxing will get sharper. Her takedowns will still stay creative, but you'll see like more submissions come, because I think the way Thainara fights is kind of awkward. And it kind of surprises you. Like 1 minute she's on the outside, but then she's clinching up with you, and then she's getting to your back. And I think that Thainara, her strength is going to be a big part of her game, moving forward. Like she can take shots, but she can pull you down, and she can clinch with you. So when I'm looking at the lower half, when it comes to strength, like the only other girls I think that could match her in strength right now, as far as like clinch up and wrestling, would be like Tecia Torres. Like Tisha's another strong girl on the feet, but when I'm looking at some of the other girls, I can see Thainara out muscling some of these girls. She's just not looking like muscles. Like she can really like clinch up and use that physicality to her advantage. But yeah, I think that from what I'm seeing a fighter that likes to mix it up. She's definitely doing a little bit of everything in there, so I can't really just pinpoint one thing she does well. Of course, she needs to tighten up on her defense. She can't get too wild in there, get too like overhyped all the time, trying to taunt the person or egg on the crowd. She got to be focused at times, so I think moving forward she'll kind of grow out of that. But yeah, I think her alongside Fatima Klein, there'll be some of the girls that start taking over the strawweight division. Speaking of Fatima Klein, I'd like to see them I'd like to see them rescheduled at some point, because they were scheduled to fight for the Dana White's Contender Series, but as y'all know, Fatima Klein, she jumped in for the chance to be signed by fighting Jasmine. So maybe they'll get matched up at some point, hopefully maybe like in the top 10. But as of right now, I think somebody like Thainara, after beating 2 experienced opponents, really no need for her to fight down now. I'd like to see her fight somebody like the winner of Tecia Torres and Denise Gomes. I'd like to see her fight Tabitha Ricci next, or even I think Karolina Kowalkiewicz is matched up, right? Is she still ranked? If she's not ranked, then I don't want to see that fight. Jessica Andrade. I think Jessica Andrade fell down to like 8 or 9, so that's a good fight. So I'd like to see Andrade, Tecia Torres, Denise Gomes winner, or Tabitha Ricci. Let's get it. I mean, hey, she's already like advancing this far, so give her some of the low-ranked top 15. But yeah, guys, what do y'all think in the comment section? As for Loma, man, like I said, I think her real downfall is really just her size and the way she fights. Like, Tecia held her own throughout the years, but as you can see, even with Tecia Torres, she was lacking some things, too, that got her all the way to the top. Like, every time Tecia fought to a higher level, she would lose. Marina, Joanna, Andrade, Wei Lee, right? The only small fighter, and we can't really call Jessica Andrade small, right? She was just short, but she was still stocky and powerful. Even she got a chance to taste the belt. And even then, I think somebody like Jessica Andrade, if she would focus on technique and strategy, she could get back to the belt. But, even then, that's a big request right there. But I'm just saying, like, I think somebody like Andrade, she's just a short fighter, but she makes up for a lot of, what she lacks in height with strength, power, and just athleticism and stamina and all of that, But like somebody like Loma, she's just really small. I think she's just too small for the division. But yeah, guys, that's all I got on this one. Let me know in the comment section what y'all think moving forward for Thainara. Make sure y'all hit that like. Combo Breaker 99. I'm out. Subscribe. Peace.